This N8N automation just destroyed instantly. It can do everything instantly can, just without having to pay the $47 per month. It automatically reaches out to your potential leads with highly optimized and personalized emails, and then it monitors all of them for responses. If after 3 days a lead hasn't responded, it immediately sends them a follow-up email reminding them of your offer. While for the ones that responded, it uses an AI agent to communicate with them with the goal of closing the sale based on some very specific instructions that we have given it, which means that you can have AI close your deals while you are sleeping. The best part, this automation is completely free to get started with, and in this video I will show you exactly how you can build it step by step. So let's get started. Now this automation is actually 3 different automations as you can see over here, but I don't want you to get intimidated. We're going to build all of them step by step in this video. Now the first automation over here in the top is simply the automation that is going to reach out to those leads. Then the second automation I have over here is basically the one that follows up with the leads that haven't responded to our initial email. And then the third automation is basically the answer AI agent, which only triggers when we get a response in the emails that we initially sent. And then this automation goes and answers different questions that the person might have and basically tries to close the sale for us, completely on autopilot. So let's create a brand new workflow and start building all of them one by one. Alright, so I created a brand new workflow, and the first thing that we have to do is to add in a trigger. And to do that, we have to come over here, click on the plus icon, and this time I will select trigger manually, simply because I want to be able to trigger this workflow very easily. Now what we have to do is to take the data from inside our CRM. It can be Google Sheets, it can be Go High Level, it can be any CRM that you're using. For this example, we're going to use Google Sheets. So all you would have to do is to come over here and search for Google Sheets, simply click on it, and then you have to come over here and select Get Rows in Sheet. And now all we have to do is to configure the settings of this node. Now to do that, we have to come over here and select our Google Sheets credentials. I will select mine. Now if you do not have credentials, all you have to do is to come over here, click on create new credential, and simply log in with Google. And then you will be able to see your Google Sheets credentials over here, so simply select them. Then our resource will leave this on sheet within document. Operation will leave this on get rows, since that's what we actually want to do. We want to get information from inside our Google Sheet. And then over here, we basically need to select the specific Google Sheet we want to get information from. Now for our example, I created this brand new Google Sheet which has information about some potential leads that we might have over here, and it's called leads example, as you can see over here in the top. So all I have to do is to come over here, search for leads example, simply find the sheet and select it, and then over here I simply need to select the sheet number, which it only has one, so I will simply select it. And now we also have the option to retrieve very specific information if we want, but since I want all the information that is inside the sheet, I will not add in any filters. Now all I have to do is to come over here and click on execute step, and you can see this successfully retrieved all the information that we have inside a Google Sheet over in our N8N interface. So now what we have to do is to start sending the emails over to all of our potential leads. But because we want the first line of our email to be personalized, we don't want it to be something general, because if it is something general, the person will think that this email was mass sent and it's spam, and it's not going to see it and read the rest of our email. So it's very important to actually personalize the first line of your email. That's a very good tip. Whether you're going to use this automation or whether you're going to use a platform like Instantly, still you should always personalize the first line of your email. So to do that, I will simply come over here and I will search for any LLM model. Personally, I will use OpenAI, but you can obviously select any LLM model you want. You can select Claude, Gemini, whatever you think is best. I will come over here and I will select message model, and this opens up all of these options. Now the first thing that we have to do is to select our OpenAI credentials. Now if you do not have credentials, you have to come over here, click on create new credential, and you need to input your API key over here. Now to find your API key, all you have to do is to go to platform/OpenAI/API keys, and then navigate over here and click on create new secret key. Then you simply need to give it a name. I will name it video, for example, and then come over here, click on create secret key, and boom, this is your brand new API key. So all you have to do is to come over here and copy it, and then come back over to N8N, paste it in over here, and come and click on save. And boom, as you can see, credentials were successfully created. So now you can come over here and select your credentials. Then resource will leave this on text, operation, message model. Then over here for the model, I will personally select GPT 4.1 mini. You can obviously select any model you want. But personally, I have found that GPT 4.1 mini does write pretty good copy, and also Claude writes very good copy as well, so you can also use Claude. And then over here in the prompt, let me actually turn this into an expression so you can actually see. I'll simply come over here and type, you are an email personalization specialist. Your task is to create personalized opening lines for sales email that feel genuine and human and not automated or spammy. And then over here I tell it that it's going to get access to all of this information. And to give it access to all of this information, as you can see over here I'm saying name, what I have to do is to come over here, select the first name of the person, and then simply drag and drop it over here. And I have to do the same with the job title. So I will find the job title, drag and drop it over here. The same with the company, I'll drag and drop it over here. And I will also do the exact same with the industry over here. So now he has access to all of this information about each one of our potential leads. And then I basically give it some instructions about the task that it needs to do. I say write only the first line of an email that incorporates at least 2 or 3 of the provided data points, name, job title, company, industry, and should be natural and in conversational way. I give it a bunch of more instructions over here. I say keep it to 1 sentence maximum only. It should sound conversational, and to avoid generic phrases like I hope this email finds you well, etc. Because these phrases have been overly used, guys, and when somebody sees this, they're like, oh, this is again a mass send email. So I tell it to avoid specific phrases like this, and then simply give it an example over here. Now you can pause the prompt and read all of it if you want, or if you want to get all of this prompt along with the full automation we're going to build in this video. So all you have to do is to come over here in the 3 dots on the corner and click on import from file, upload the file, and have the whole automation populate for you automatically without you having to do anything. You can come and join my school community, where I have a whole section over here in my classroom that is called assets, that basically includes all the JSON files from every video that I have made in my channel, and it is also including this one that you're watching right now. So you can basically come over here, find the JSON file you want, and simply click on download and upload it over to N8N. Now I do have a lot of more content inside my school showing you how you can actually sell these automations as well. So if you would be interested in that, make sure you click the link in the description and you come and check it out. But you can also pause the video and actually copy this prompt if you want. So now that we're done with that, I will simply come over here and close this off. And what we're going to do is to simply execute the step and create the first personalized lines for our emails. So let me actually click on execute step. As you can see, ChatGPT has actually started writing all of the copy. And boom, it just finished executing. And as you can see over here, we have our first personalized line. So now what we have to do is to come over here and actually send over our emails. Now to do that, we have to come over here, click on the plus icon, and we're going to search for a loop. And the reason we're using a loop, guys, we also want to set a waiting time between every email that we're sending, so we don't mass send 60, 50, 70 emails at once. Because if we do that, Gmail will see this as bot activity and it's going to flag our emails, and they are all going to end up in the spam folder. So now what I'm going to do is come over here and delete this replace me placeholder, and we're going to take the loop branch, and then we're simply going to come over here and add the Gmail node. So make sure you search for Gmail and then come over here and select send a message, since that's what we actually want to do. We want to send an email message. Now the first thing you have to do is to select your Gmail credentials. Now if you do not have credentials, click on create new credentials, simply log in with Google, and then you will be able to select them from over here. Then on resource we'll leave this on message, operation we'll leave this on send, on to we actually need to execute the previous node. So we have access to all of this data over here, and then we have to open our Google Sheets over here to where we have the email addresses of all of our leads, and then simply take in that schema and drag and drop it over here. Then on the subject, what I'm going to write is I will take the first name of the person, I will drag and drop it over here, and then I will say partnership opportunity. Because guys, I have found that when I put the word partnership in the subject line of my emails, people tend to open them way more, simply because they think, oh, this could be an actually big deal. So I need to open up the email and read it to see its content. So that's why I think it's honestly a cheat code putting the word partnership in the subject line of your email. And I have actually tested this, that's why I'm suggesting it. So now that we also set up a subject line, then what you have to do is to come over here and change the email type over to text, since we're going to send over a simple text message. And then what we need to do is to open this up and write the full copy of our email. Now the first thing that we're going to say is hi, and then we're going to take in that person's first name and simply drag and drop it over here. Then we're going to put on a comma, and then what we need to do underneath that is take in our first line, which is the personalization line, and simply drag and drop it over here, which with this we're immediately answering the question, is this email spam? They're saying, oh, this email is personalized for me, so they know this email is not spam, and they are more likely to sit there and read it. So after this line, we basically need to write the rest of our copy. So this is what I have written over here, and if you're wondering where I found this template, I found it inside my school community in the cold email course, to where I have a bunch of email templates over here in Google Doc, which you can take and use. So now let's go and change up this text and make it actually customized for us. So first you say I am, and then you need to say your name, where you're basically identifying yourself. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. I will say I'm Damian, founder of, and then you simply input the name of your company. I will say Software Gent. Then I say we help companies like, and then over here you need to input any companies that you have helped, which what this does is it basically shows social proof. Now if you do not have social proof, what you can do is simply remove the founder of the company over here and simply say we have companies like, and simply input the name of your company, which does give you some social proof because you have actually helped the company. Now the fact that it was your own does not really matter, since you can actually deliver on the promise. So that's a way to do it in an honest way and not lie that you have helped other companies when you actually haven't. And then as you can see, I say social proof number 2 and social proof number 3, where you basically can fill in all the social proof that you have, if you have any. If you don't, simply delete it. That is fine, you can still get clients without having massive social proof, contrary to popular belief. And then I say increase the qualified leads by 200 to 400% using custom AI systems, since with this offer I'm supposedly selling AI systems. Now obviously if you're selling anything else, you would change this to fit your specific offer. Then I say I know this, and then we need to fill in the company name. So I will simply come over here, taking the schema of the company name, simply drag and drop it over here. Could benefit from our lead generation system that runs 24/7 without your team lifting a figure. So over here we're basically telling them why we're messaging them, because if you see, we actually have answered 3 questions till now. We first answered the question, is this spam? Then we answered the question, who are we? And now we're answering the question, why are we messaging them? And this is a very good email structure if you want to have pretty high conversions. And then what we do is we immediately make a call to action. We're telling them, worth a quick 15-minute conversation. And then over here we need to input a link to our Calendly, which what Calendly is, guys, is basically a service that allows you to book meetings with other people. So all you would have to do is to go over to calendly.com. I will leave a link for it in the description below. Simply sign up, create your account, and set up your schedule. This will give you a URL which you will be able to take and paste in over there. So I will simply input this fake URL for now, but obviously input your real Calendly URL. And then I say, or if you want more info first, just reply and I will send you a brief explanation exactly of what we do. I'm basically giving him 2 options here, guys. As you can see, I'm telling him, hey, you can book a call, or if you're not ready yet, you can simply message me so I can send you more info, because you will see that the vast majority of the people, guys, are not willing to hop in a 15-minute call with you when they don't actually have a lot of information about what you're offering. So you will see that most people actually choose this option and they basically tell you, hey, give me more information in the email, because they're simply not ready yet to make the 15-minute time investment. So that's why we give them a second option, because if we only have the 15-minute call, we're going to lose a lot of potential leads that we would otherwise get if we simply gave them a second option. Now, do not give them a billion options. 2 options are good, either a call or you can send them more information, because if you give them more options, then they get decision fatigue and then they're gonna end up choosing none of them. So there's a balance with these guys, and I think the sweet spot is at 2 options, exactly as we have done over here. And then I'm saying best, and then you simply type in your name over here. So I will say best Damian, and let me actually put it underneath as well. And now we have finished with writing all the copy of our emails. So now what I will do is I will simply come over here and close this off. And if we go over here and we execute the step, you will see that we successfully sent our first email. But remember, we have multiple emails to send, and we only send one because we're in a loop right now. So now what we need to do is to actually come over here and search for Google Sheets, because we also want to log all of our activity inside the Google Sheets, so we can then go and see, oh, did we actually send an email to this person or did we not? So to do that, I will come over here, select Google Sheets, and then I will come and select update row in sheet. Now I will come and select my Google Sheets credentials. I will make sure the operation is on the update row. Then over here I will come and I will select the exact same Google Sheet as before, and I will also come over here and select the exact same number. And now what we need to do is to select a column to match on. Let's say we want to use the lead ID for that. You can obviously select any column you want. So we have to fill this column in because we're using this to match the thing that we are going to update. So make sure you actually come take the lead ID schema and drag and drop it over here, and then we can basically leave all of those empty, and all we have to do is to come over here in this column that is called send, which as you can see I have created over here in my Google Sheet, and it's completely empty because it was made to track whether we have sent an email to all of these people. So what we need to do now is basically come over here and update all these columns once we send all of those emails. So I will simply come over here and type in send. You can obviously type in any word that you want, just so I know that I actually did send this email. Now if I come over here and I execute the step, and I come back over in my Google Sheet, you can see that this did in fact update the first row over here, and it does says that we did in fact send the email over to Sarah Johnson, which is again exactly what we wanted. Now guys, we could actually take in this Google Sheet and simply bring it over to the loop, but we're not going to do this, because what we have to do is to come over here and add in another node, which is the wait node. And we're adding a wait node, guys, because after we send the first email or we update it over to the Google Sheet, we want to wait for a time frame of 5 to 10 minutes, and then we go and send the next email. And again, the reason we're doing that is so we don't mass send the emails and Gmail thinks of us as a bot and goes and flags all of our emails as spam. So to avoid that, we have to add in a wait node. And I would suggest you to actually set this anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. For this example, I will do 5. And then you can take in this edge and bring it all the way over to the loop. So you see why we use the loop. We use the loop in order for us to be able to use the wait node so our emails do not get flagged. And now if I actually come over here and execute this full workflow, we can see that it did in fact execute successfully. As you can see, we have 60 runs over here. And if I go over in my Google Sheet, it updated the send parameter over here, so we know that we did in fact send all of those emails. So that was the first part of the automation, which was the send email part. Now it's time we actually go and we build the second part, which is going to be the email follow-up part. What that means, guys, is it is going to go and check whether the emails that we initially sent had a response, and if they didn't have the response, we're going to go and send over a follow-up email, basically reminding the person of our offer, which again is one of the very core functions that Instantly offers. Now to build this, we have to come over here, click on the plus icon, and we're going to search for a scheduled trigger node. And the reason we're doing that, we want to set this to run at the specific time frame that we want, and I will personally select to do this every day, but I will actually change the time and I will put it at 11 AM, and I will leave the trigger minute at 0 because I have found that emails are more likely to be responded at that time frame, since a lot of people actually have gone in their offices, they have done their morning work, and then it's time where people start having a break and they go and check their emails. So that's why I put it in this specific time, and I will bring this all the way down here. And now what we need to do is to again come over here and search for Google Sheets, because we again need to retrieve information from inside of Google Sheets. So to do that, I will come over here and I will select get rows, and we're basically going to configure this exactly the same way. Simply select your Google Sheets credentials, then come over here and select the Google Sheet, and also over here the sheet number, and I will not put in any filters, so I'll simply come over here now and execute the step, and boom, we have successfully retrieved all the information inside that N8N interface. So now we will again come over here, click on the plus icon, and we're going to search for another loop, because again we want the follow-up emails that we're going to send to be sent over every 5 or 10 minutes. We don't want to send them all at once, because again we're going to get flagged and we're going to end up in the spam folder. So that's why we're adding a loop over here to enable us to add in a wait node later on, and you will see where we're going to add this in a bit. But now let me actually delete this and come over here and take in the loop branch, come over here and search for the Gmail node, and this time we're going to come over here and we're going to select get many messages, because that's how we're actually going to be able to find the email addresses that haven't responded to our initial email. Now again, come over here and select your Gmail credentials. Then operation, you leave this on get many. Then over here in the limit, you can basically limit how many emails you want to retrieve. When you actively are running the automation, you should have this on return all. But since I'm doing this as an example and I don't want to return all of them, I'll simply select 100. But again, while you're running the automation, make sure you actually turn this on return all, and then you will have to come over here and click on add filter, select sender. What you have to do now is, let me also execute the step to have the data over here, is to come over here in the sender and simply take in the email schema from inside the Google Sheets and drag and drop it over here. This way it is only going to retrieve messages that were sent to us by these specific email addresses over here, which are the email addresses that we send over our initial emails. So if I come over here and I execute this step, you will see that we have no output at all, and that is because none of the emails that were sent before were responded to. So there is a possibility, and since you don't want the workflow to stop when there is no output, what you have to do is to come over here in the settings, click on always output data, which if we click on that and we execute this step, you will see that there are no items, but it does output data and it will continue with the rest of the workflow. So now what we need to do is to see, did this specific run return any data? If it did, that means that the person did actually reply to us. If it did not, it means that that person did not reply to us and we should go and send him a follow-up message. And to do that, we have to come over here and add in an edit fields node, and you will see why we're adding this in a bit, guys. But make sure you add in an edit fields node, then click on fields to set, simply give it a name like a reply, for example, and then what you have to do is to come over here, turn this into an expression and simply type in this short snippet of code. And what this short snippet of code does is it basically looks at the get many messages node and sees, did it output anything? If it did, this is going to say yes. But since this did not output anything, this is going to say no. Now you can actually pause this video, screenshot this, give it over to ChatGPT, and it's going to give you the snippet of code, because then we're going to use this brand new parameter that we created, and we're going to come over here and add in an if node to check if we actually had a response or not. So if I actually execute the previous nodes, you will see that this also executed this, which is not what we wanted. So I can have all the data over here visible. We have to simply come over here and say if the reply over here is equal to, and make sure this is actually a string, is equal to, and then come over here and type in yes, exactly as I have typed it over here with a capital Y, then if we come over here and we execute the step, this is going to be true if it is equal to yes. But since this is equal to no, it is actually false. Which what this now enables us to do, guys, is basically go over and send that person a follow-up email, since he hasn't responded in our initial email. So that is the logic behind how we find the people that we need to send a follow-up email to. So now all we have to do is simply come over here and add in a Gmail node, and then again come over here and select send a message. Again we have to select our Gmail credentials. I'll select mine. On 2 we open up the Google Sheet over here and we take in the email schema, drag and drop it over here. On subject we are going to do a similar subject. I will drag and drop in the name and I will say partnership follow-up. Since again, guys, I have found that the word partnership really works well, that's why I'm using this again. And then I will come over here and turn this into text, and I will need to come and write the copy of our follow-up email. So I will again come back over in my community, come over here to email templates, and I simply copy the template and I will come and paste it over here. And as you can see, this is actually a pretty short email, and the reason it's pretty short is basically to remind the person, hey, I gave you an offer before. We're not trying to repeat them our offer since we already did that before, and if we redo that, we're going to end up annoying the person and he's going to be less likely to buy it. So let's go over this a bit and make the necessary changes. First thing, as you can see, I say hello name. We obviously delete this and we need to input the name of the specific person. So I will take in the first name and drag and drop it over here, and I will also put in a comma, and then I say I haven't heard from you, so I wanted to quickly check in. Are you looking to? And then over here we need to mention the benefit of the offer, basically reminding him of what he's missing out on if he doesn't actually want to work with us. So since we're selling an AI automation service, and specifically a lead generation system, we're going to say, are you looking to generate thousands of qualified leads for your business? And then I say, let me know if you're the right person to reach out to about this, which actually makes him more likely to respond, because he either is and he wants to say, yes, of course I'm the right person, or he's either somebody lower in the company where we basically remind him, hey, forward this over to your boss or somewhere that can make a decision. And then we simply end off with best, and we simply need to type in a name. I'm just going to type in Damian. So now I can actually come over here and close this off. And the last thing I'm going to do is, of course, add in a wait note, since again we do not want our emails to be flagged as spam. So I will again come over here and send this over to 5 minutes, and then simply take in this branch and bring it back over to the loop. So now if we actually come over here and we execute this automation, it is going to go and send a follow-up email to all the people that haven't responded in our initial email. And if I actually run this, just so you guys can see, and boom guys, it just finished executing, and as you can see, it sent over 15 follow-up emails, and it did not send one, because I actually did come over here and input one of my fake email addresses and actually gave a fake response, just to see if this works, and it did successfully manage to bring it over here in the true branch, which means that it did not send a follow-up email to that specific person. So now we're done with the second part of our automation, and the only part that is left is this answered AI agent over here. Again, what this is going to do is constantly going to be looking for responses, and immediately when someone responds to our emails, either our initial email or one of our follow-up emails, then it's going to go and it's going to use this AI agent to craft a copy of our email and then send it over to that person with the goal of closing the sale. And basically the magic to this whole automation is the prompt that we're going to use inside the AI agent in order to make it our personal salesman. So now we can come back in our initial workflow over here, and it's time to create the third and final automation. But before we do that, I do want to preface this. If you want to also update this inside Google Sheets, you can simply come over here and add in a Google Sheet node and simply update over that you send the follow-up emails as well, just like we did over here. But that step is optional. You can do it if you want to have the logs of everything that you did. But now let's come over here and create the third part of our automation. Now the first node we're going to use is the Gmail node, but specifically we're going to use the Gmail trigger. So make sure you come over here, you select triggers, and then you select on message received. Select your Gmail credentials over here. Then over here on mode, you can basically set this up as frequent as you want this to run. I would suggest you to make this run every minute or every hour. Do not make it on every day. So I will come over here and select every minute. And if I actually fetch this test event, you can see that it did return us one item over here, but it did because I went and sent over a fake email over to this email address. So we actually have something to pull from. So now that we have all this data, what we need to do is to come over here and add in again a Google Sheets node. And you might have guessed it, we're going to again get all the data from inside a Google Sheets. So we're basically going to do exactly the same thing. Select our Google Sheets credentials over here. We will leave this on get rows. Simply select a Google Sheet, and then I will come over here again and I will select the sheet number, and I will not add in any other filter. So now all I have to do is to come over here and execute the step, and boom, as you can see, we successfully managed to retrieve all the data from inside a Google Sheet. So now what we have to do is to basically come over here and add in an if node, and what we're going to do with this if node is we're going to check if the person that sent us the email over here is actually somebody that was in our list and we did send him a reach out message in order for us to sell them our services. Because in your email address, your mother actually might send you an email. You don't want your AI agent to go and try to sell to her. So that's why we're using this if node to basically check whether that function is true. But if we come over here, we can see that this message was sent from this email address, but it's not just the email address, it also has some other text. So to circumvent that, what we can do is simply come over here and add in an OpenAI node and select message model, select our credentials over here, then over here select any model, it doesn't really matter. Then over here in the prompt basically say give me just the email address, and then simply come over here, take in the from and drag and drop it over here. So now if we execute this step, this is going to turn out wrong because it did give us the email address, but it gave us 16 outputs because I made a mistake. We simply need to take this and add this between these two nodes, so we don't have 16 different items and we only have one. So now I actually execute this, you will see that we will only have one item over here, exactly as we would want, and then we can retrieve all the information. Very nice. And then we can simply open up the if node and actually check. I will simply take in the email of the person that sent us the message, drag and drop it over here, and then I will again come over here in the Google Sheet and simply take in the email and drag and drop it over here. So now if I execute the step, you can see that all of these were false simply because the person that sent us the email is not the person that we had inside the Google Sheet with our potential leads, which means that this would move over in this false branch, which nothing is going to happen. But if this is true, then we need to move on with a true branch over here and actually go use the AI agent we're going to build and promote our specific offer. So to do that, let me actually come over here and make sure this is actually the same thing. Now again, do not make this change, I'm just changing this just so we can move on with the automation. So now if I actually execute this, you'll see that this is actually true, and then we can move on with the rest of our automation. So now assuming that this is true, what we have to do is to come over here and again, we're going to search for a loop. Because remember, again, we want to use a wait node so our emails do not get flagged. So I will simply delete this and bring this over here. So now we're going to take our loop over here and we're going to search for a wait node, because remember guys, we don't want the person to send us an email and immediately we're going to respond to it the same second. That would seem obviously like bot activity. We want to set this up so some time actually passes and then our AI agent goes and responds, so it looks like human-like behavior, because nobody answers immediately when you email them. So I would say for a realistic time frame, you put this anywhere around from 2 to 3 hours. So you wait for 2 to 3 hours and then you go over and send the email. So make sure you actually set this up to not make yourself look like you're using some bot. And then after the time passes, let me also execute this. I obviously went over here and change the time frame right now just so I can move on with the example. But again, you leave this on 2 to 3 hours. You have to come over here and search for an AI agent. And the reason we're using an AI agent and not a simple LLM, guys, is because we also might want to give it access to different tools over here, maybe access to our CRM data, so you can also craft a more well-written and personalized message in order for us to sell our service. And we also want to give it access to the Think tool, but I will show you that in a bit. For now, let's open this up and let's actually configure this AI agent. To do that, I will come over here and change this from connect to set trigger node to define below, and then we need to open up the user message over here into an expression. And let me open this up so you guys can take a better look at it. And we need to basically type in our prompt in which we're gonna guiding our AI agent on exactly how we want it to write our email response. So I will simply come over here and type: you are a sales assistant for Damian's AI and automation services, which are specifically lead generation services. Your goal is to close prospects by focusing on the transformation and results they're going to achieve. Then I give it access to my specific offer over here, and then I give it some instructions about the approach to take, and I tell it to make sure it emphasizes the benefit that that person is going to get. Then I give it some tone instructions, as you can see over here, and I tell it to always send with a clear next step, either book a call or ask for the commitment to start, since they have already responded in our email, so that means that they're actually interested. You can obviously change this whole prompt if you want. And then I say keep the message short and not too long and salesy. You can obviously change up this prompt if you want and make it exactly specific to your offer and give it the instructions you would want the AI agent to follow, but this is the prompt that I will personally use. And now it's time we actually come over here and add in an AI model. I will personally select OpenAI again, and I will leave this on GPT 4.1 mini. And then what I'm going to do is come over here in the tools and give it access to the Think tool, which what the Think tool does, guys, is it basically tells the AI agent to take a pause, stop, and think again before it gives the response, which actually does make it significantly more likely to get a good response. Now you can also come over here and give it access to the Google Sheets tool, for example, if you have relevant data for your leads inside this tool. And then all you would have to do is to come over here in the instructions and basically tell it something like, you also have access to the Google Sheets tool, retrieve relevant information for the leads and use it in the pitch, or something like that, if you actually want to give it access to your CRM. I personally will not in this example, but you can always do that if you want. What I will do instead is I will simply come over here and say this is the name of the person, and I will simply take in the name and drag and drop it over here. So now if we actually execute this step, the AI agent is going to start and it's going to generate the message in order for it to close the client. And boom, as you can see, it generated the message over here. And now what we need to do is to go and simply send it over to that specific person. So I will come over here, select Gmail, and again I will select send a message. Then I will come and select my Gmail account. On 2, I will simply take in the email of that specific person and bring it over here. Again, on subject, I will take in the first name and I will say something like partnership. Then I will change this over to text. And then for the message, I will simply take in the full email that my AI agent generated for me and then simply drag and drop it over here. And now if I come and execute the step, you will see that this is going to go and send over an email to that person with a specific response our AI agent generated for us, basically trying to sell them our service. So now the final thing we have to do is to simply take this and bring this back over here in the loop. So it constantly keeps looping all the way till all of our messages are sent. And this was the third part of our automation, guys. And if you want this full automation, you can click the link in the description, join my school community, and then navigate over here in the Assets tab. Well, the JSON file for this automation, along with any automation I have built in my channel, is going to be there. But if you join the school, you will also get access to all the content that I have about selling AI automations, because building them is one thing, selling them is something completely different. And I show you how to do it with 4 methods. I show you how to do it by using Upwork, I show you how to do it by using cold email, and then I also show you how to build an audience on YouTube and on Instagram, and then leverage that audience to sell them your automations, which is by far the best method out of all, because with this way you're not the one that is chasing the clients are actually coming to you and asking you to build them automations. Plus you can also charge them a premium price since you have already built an audience, which gives you a lot of social proof. And you will also get access to the brand new series that I have started, which is called Build a $1 Million SaaS series, where I basically document my process of me building my own AI SaaS. And guys, this is not like a side project I'm doing for the community. This is an actual business that I have wanted to build for a very long time, and I simply chose to document it exclusively inside the community. So if you want to get access to all of this content, along with getting access to a community of almost 170 members that are interested in AI and most importantly, making money with it, make sure you click the link in the description and you come and check out my school community. And I will be waiting for you inside. But now YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy this video where I build a $1 million app using just Lovable and N8N. So make sure you go and check that out next. And I will see you over there.